Record on the right, top left.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Kalbach Shul. I'd like to thank Rabbi Naftali Citron, Julie Bola, and the board for welcoming us tonight. Next week is Shavuos. So I'm just going to say a little preface. My name is David Shweki. I help run I just worked for 9 hours. So I run a website called ExcitingJudaism.com, and we have tons of Torah content. So I'm just going to share. I'm not teaching, God forbid. I'm sharing. We're all going to hang out together. Tonight we're going to share Rabbi Nachman. So this book, Rabbi Nachman's Wisdom, when I first became exposed to real Torah, I bought this book in 1976 when I was 17 years old, and it was $2.95. This book is being auctioned now by the son of Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan, who wrote this book.
Yes.
For hundreds of dollars. You can't get this, it's out of print. They make it big now. So I actually put scotch tape all over it. When I was 17, I was watching Star Trek and baseball. Like, I had no idea what the heck this was. Like, Torah was just going to shul. And so this was the first ever Jewish book I ever bought.
It was waiting for you.
For $2.95. I remember when they brought him, where I was learning by Rabbi Ari Rosenfeld, and he was the only Breslov teaching in America in the 1970s, and he had a group of young guys there, all like mostly not married, and it was a group of like 10 to 20 guys, only people learning Breslov in English in those days. Breslov nobody knew about. In those days, only 5 people a year went to Uman.
Wow.
Because you had to go through the KGB, and they put you through horrible, negotiation. What's the other word? Interrogation. So 5 people a year they let it, and Rabbi Rosenfeld would spend sometimes 5 hours in not negotiation, in interrogation. I'm just tired. And so we'd give money to people that were going to be part of the mitzvah.
Yes.
That was before Uman. Now Uman, 30,000 people were going.
Wow.
So this was where I was brought up in this type of environment.
Wow.
So when I read up this book, I was saying, it's another Torah book. When I started reading stuff, I go like, what the heck is going on? I said, what is he saying? Like, really weird stuff, So some things like really stayed with me. I'd like to share some with you. So that's why I called this class a study in sanity, because a study in sanity, not insanity.
Is that in print?
You can get this. This is a new publication, newly published. Yeah, it's a big thing with
It's in English?
with a Havdalah candle on it. Yeah. So this was Rabbi Kaplan's. I'm not sure if it's his first book that he printed. It's Rabbi Kaplan. So when I read this, a few things stood out with me. I never forgot, and this was like the first thing that went like, whoa! Like I said, this was me in my life when I was 17. So Rabbi Nachman is going to start. The world is full of strife. On the front page, you got it?
Okay.
So I'll just read it, and then everybody will chime in. The world is full of strife. This is Sichos. This book in Hebrew is called Shivchei Haran. It's Rabbi Nachman's sayings. A lot of this stuff is not in the Likutei Moharan. These are sayings. Interesting, but they're sourced. Everything's sourced in Likutei Moharan, but some of the stuff here you'll never find in Likutei Moharan. So it's very interesting stuff. This stuff, very interesting. So the world is full of strife. There are wars between the great world powers. Right? And when this was published, Russia and SALT I and SALT II and all that crazy stuff, the Warsaw countries, the Eastern Bloc was still up. The Iron Curtain was up. So this was like, whoa,
What year did Rav Nachman live?
1840s, 1830s. I have to look it up. I'm
He's
probably
writing
wrong.
this. Rav Nachman's writing.
Rabbi Nachman's writing it at that time.
This was
Right.
translated.
This was right after like,
Yeah, so
100
he's over
years after the Chelmoniki massacres. Yeah, so he's saying it in his time. Obviously, this was the time of the Tsar.
Buried with all the martyrs.
Right.
The people that were slaughtered to death.
Yeah, yes. This was after all the horrible stuff that went on. This was before, obviously, the Russian Revolution. He passed by one time that cemetery, and he stopped and he says, "I have to be buried here." And I said, "Why?" He says, "Because the souls are calling me to help them." He says, "I want to be."
In Uman?
Yeah, that's why he said he stopped. He actually was getting sick. He wasn't feeling well. He was living in Breslov, and he needed a new place to live. I think his house burned down.
Yeah, right.
And so a non-religious Jew, he became friends with Jews that were not religious, and he had a beautiful home, so the non-religious Jew invited him to stay in his home. And that's where he went
You
to
know
stay.
him?
Yeah, and that's where he passed away, in his house. You can still go to the house, which I've never been to.
The house is still there?
Yeah, the house is still there. It's locked
More than
up.
100 years old?
Yeah, it's still there.
Wow.
It's cool stuff. So there are conflicts between different localities. There are feuds among families. There is discord between neighbors. There is friction within a household, between man and wife, between parents and children. When I read this, I was 17, like we're having chaos in my house. I go, wow, that's me. I felt so good, you know. Wow, someone knows about what's going on, you know. So it's just like, cool. Life is short. People die every day. The day that has passed will never return. And death comes closer every day. Okay, we don't want to get too depressed, but let's just stay with where Rabbi Nachman wants to go. It gets very interesting. But people still fight and never once remembered their goal in life. All strife is identical. The friction within a family is a counterpart of the wars between nations. Each person in a household is the counterpart of a world power. And their quarrels are the wars between those powers. We're not going to just talking about like Moses and Egypt. You know, go straight into your house. The traits of each nation are also reflected in these individuals. Some nations are known for anger, others for bloodthirstiness. Each one has its particular trait. The counterparts of these traits are found in each household. You want to stop now, or should we keep going? It's getting interesting. You may wish to live in peace. You have no desire for strife. Still you are forced into dispute and conflict. Nations are the same. A nation may desire peace and make many concessions to achieve it. But no matter how much it tries to remain neutral, it can still be caught up in war. Two opposing sides can demand its allegiance until it is drawn into war against its will. The same is true in a household. Man is a miniature world. His essence contains the world and everything in it. A man and his family contain the nations of the world, including all their battles. A man living alone can become insane. With him are all the warring nations. His personality is that of the victorious nation. So the first time I read this, my very close relative was becoming schizophrenic. When I read this, I go, wow, this is...
So what does it mean by this?
You have to keep going. Right now you're in the middle of the movie. It's going to keep going. The movie's not over yet.
If he's all alone, what's the warring emotions?
All these things are going on inside him. One day he's upset,
In his mind.
in his mind. Watch this. His personality is that of the victorious nation. Each time a different nation is victorious, he must change completely, and this can drive him insane. His changing his personality is non-stop, which is normal though when you're around people. You're upset one day, you're happy another day, you're in a bad mood one day, good mood one day. I come into work, I see my neighbor, oh, you're in a good mood today. He's saying hello to me. Oh, yesterday you didn't say hello to me. Bad mood. What do we take? Good mood or bad mood? So that's normal. But when you're by yourself, it's abnormal. So watch this. He is alone and cannot express the war within him. But when one lives with others, these battles are expressed towards his family and friends. Not necessarily bad battles, but why are you upset at me? How come you're not saying hello to me? Getting out the aggression a little bit, you know. You said you love me, why don't you talk to me? There may be strife in the household of a tzaddik. This too is a war between nations. It is also the war between the 12 tribes, such as between Ephraim and Judah. When the Mashiach comes, all wars will be abolished. The world will have eternal peace, as it is written, they will neither hurt nor destroy. That's it. It's just, in the South they call it a ditty. A small little interesting thing that I always carried with me. So I want to go to the second one, which is people have more power. Is that the next one? Turn the page.
What page?
The next page.
Yeah. Page 150 now.
No, don't worry about the pages. It's not in order.
So what does it say?
People have more power. The next one.
People have more power?
Let me see. Let me see, because I don't have a copy.
No, I don't have it there.
Oh, okay. I'm mixed up. Let's go to.
Yeah, page 150 now.
No. Go to the guard your thoughts carefully. Next page, 46. Sorry.
What?
Just turn to the next page.
Yeah, I don't see it.
No, it's not in.
Yeah, right.
Guard your thoughts.
Oh, yeah,
on the
40.
left-hand column.
Yeah,
46.
150, 46.
You got it, everybody?
Yeah.
These are just great things that when I was a kid, even now when I read it, it's so strong. It's so powerful. Check this out. Guard your thoughts carefully, for each thought can literally create a living thing. The higher a faculty, the further it can reach. You can kick something with your foot, but throw it higher with your hand. You can reach still further with your voice, calling to a person very far away. Hearing reaches yet further, for you can hear sounds like gunfire from a very great distance. Your sight reaches even further, seeing things in the sky. The higher the faculty, the further it can reach. And highest of all is the mind, which can penetrate the loftiest heights. Therefore, you must safeguard your mind above all else. That's it?
No, it's not.
No, it stops there.
Because it goes, you must be very worthy.
You want to go to the next one?
Meditate.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't start. Okay, but keep going. You must be very worthy to able to meditate for a given time each day and regret what you must. Not everyone can have such a mental tranquility each day. The days pass and are gone, and one finds that he never once had time to really think.
Can I just say,
Please.
was reading about Isaac the Blind, Rabbi Isaac,
Sure.
and he says that before you can meditate, you have to cleave to God. You have to draw yourself to God and be close to God and keep God in your mind all the time, and then you can start to meditate. Because he's saying you have to know there is a God, and you have to live in the way of honoring God, and then you can really meditate. Because
You have to think of what God is to you.
right. and you
That
have to-
safe place in your mind or something?
Yes, you have to live in a way that honors life, basically. That honors
Yourself and others.
what God has created, to honor the fact that God is the creative source of everything. And then you can start to experience a meditation, because then you get closer to who God is.
So you can't do it if you're upset or angry or
Right, it won't work. It won't
or
work. No.
preoccupied or
Right.
worried or bothered.
Right.
So you have to go to first a safe place, a restful place.
Yeah. And
Some people don't call it God, they call it something else.
right, they call it higher self,
Right.
higher consciousness, whatever the name. But it's all of these, it's all one.
So it's like the safe place in the person's mind,
Yeah.
a comfortable place.
Yeah.
You must therefore make sure to set aside a specific day each day to calmly review your life. Consider what you are doing and ponder whether it is worthy that you devote your life to it. One who does not meditate cannot have wisdom.
Holy wisdom. Holy.
He can't survive in
No.
this world without it.
Huh.
He may occasionally be able to concentrate, but not for any length of time. His power of concentration remains weak and cannot be maintained. Phew. One who does not meditate also does not realize the foolishness of this world. The one who has a relaxed and penetrating mind can see that it is all vanity. Many desire to travel widely and become famous and powerful. They do not have the perception to realize that it is vanity and striving after the wind. It is all the more foolish because it does not actually result in pleasure even in this world. The main result of such fame is suffering and insults. One of the Rebbe's followers once had a strong desire to become a renowned religious leader. The Rebbe told him, "You cannot even say the prayer after the meal sincerely. You want to be a leader. Everything you do must be acceptable to others." Well, Never once do you do something for the sake of God alone. He was telling this guy.
That's what Babash likes.
What's
Says
on-
You have
oh, yeah.
to get to that point where you're doing things for God alone. So you're doing things
Very high level.
to please God.
Second, what was the next one?
We've got to get there. That's it. That's all there is.
Let's go to the next page on the right side, number 54.
With what page?
The next page.
162?
God does not do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Page 163.
Right, 163 and 54. This I found.
You have 160?
Yeah, 163.
And which,
54.
54, all right.
I just found this stuff pretty interesting. I just picked
Yeah.
a few different things. This is pretty cool. I heard this a few years ago. I actually read this in the Talmud that God never creates the same person twice, and no two faces are the same ever, since
Right.
since the history.
Everyone is unique.
Everyone's unique. So how is that
That's
possible?
brilliant.
Watch this. God does not do the same thing twice. Even when a person is reborn, it is not completely the same. Even when a soul is reborn, it is not completely the same. The soul has a level of nefesh and a level of ruach, and the two are never brought back in the same combination. The nefesh may be reincarnated, but always with a different ruach. The complete soul is not the same, for God does not do the same thing twice. It's pretty cool, huh?
That is really
What is Ruach? What is
It's
Ruach?
spirit.
spirit.
Roberta, let me see what's the next one. Thank you.
And what's Nefesh?
So,
Well, it says the soul has a level of Nefesh. What does it mean?
It's in the physical body.
Okay, so now we're going to close this book, and we're going to do Likutei Moharan. Just go to the next page.
What page?
Go to the next page.